Shalom everyone, Lieutenant Colonel in the Reserves, Jonathan here, and you are live on the IDF's official Facebook page. I want to give you a special live update on the situation in Israel as we're speaking, and try to keep you posted on what Israel is going through on this second day of what is a mind-boggling situation. For those of you who may not have heard and may not know, I'll give a short recap of how we got to where we are, and then I'll speak about what's going on now, and then I'll end by talking about what directives we have been given by the Israeli government and what our plans are to execute. So how did we get where we are? Today there are confirmed more than 700 Israeli casualties. That is the highest number of Israelis killed in any day of anything, natural causes or enemy activity, since the State of Israel was founded. Let that sink in. And more than 2,100 Israelis have been wounded, which is also a fantastical figure that I struggle to wrap my head around. And what is perhaps the worst thing of all is that most of those casualties were civilians. We're not even talking about soldiers who died in battle, but we're talking about civilians who were butchered on the streets and in their houses, in their villages and in their beds. And right from the beginning, in the IDF, we're hearing the outcry from Israeli society and from friends, Jewish friends from around the world and other people who care about Israel, asking how did this happen? How could Hamas perform this unprecedented act of violence and savagery? Those are tough questions, and they will be answered by the IDF once the fighting is over. And there will be time for reckoning, but that will be done when the fighting is over. What we are doing now is focusing on the situation in southern Israel and focusing on getting our job done. I haven't spoken about it, but it's probably the biggest topic. For the first time in our history, there are dozens, I cannot say the exact number, but there are very many Israelis held in captivity, illegally, in complete violation of law, norms, basically a war crime. They're held by a terrorist organization in Gaza, and these are women, children, infants, elderly, disabled people that have been taken from Israel into Gaza, paraded on the streets of Gaza, harassed, manhandled, and even executed, and all of this documented in videos that Hamas members have proudly shared on social media. So that is the beginning of the situation, for sure. The most difficult starting point that the IDF has ever faced in the beginning of a war. As we speak, there is still fighting ongoing. There are still rockets fired at Israeli civilians, and unfortunately there are casualties from these rockets. And there are still Hamas terrorists in southern Israel. The IDF, Israeli troops are there fighting, searching for each and every terrorist in order to set or return stability and calm to southern Israel, and to be able to focus on the next stage of operations. I hope that in a few hours, as the sun will rise over Israel for a third day after this heinous attack started, then we will be able to declare that southern Israel is clear of terrorists, and we will move on to the next stage of our operation. Also, as we are speaking, Israel, the Israeli Air Force, is striking Hamas military targets inside the Gaza Strip. And tonight we are striking many targets all over the Gaza Strip with the aim of sending a very clear message to Hamas that will be felt clearly. There are lots of infrastructure, lots of military positions, and many places that Hamas used in order to attack Israel from that have been struck. And this is, of course, only the very first stage of the fighting. The Israeli government has ordered the IDF to be prepared, or not to be prepared, but to achieve a situation whereby Hamas will no longer have any military capacity to kill or hurt Israeli civilians. And second, to achieve a situation whereby Hamas cannot govern the Gaza Strip. Those are our aims. And we have mobilized more than 100,000 soldiers that are now in the south, getting geared up, ready, are preparing their plans, and they will execute this mission that has been told by the Israeli government. We're in for a very long and difficult war. This is not another operation. This is not another round of fighting which starts with rocket fire and then Israeli retaliations and ends with some half-baked ceasefire and then happens again after a few months. This is a different situation altogether. The attack that we sustained is unprecedented in scope and in severity and brutality, and our response will be unprecedented as well. And I want to say something about morals in warfare. Israel holds itself and fights according to the law of armed conflict. We do this because we believe that we should use our weapons only in order to defend ourselves and to distinguish between anybody who is a fighter and who isn't a fighter. And yes, our blood is boiling. We are furious, angry, frustrated, and many other things by these gruesome attacks done against our civilians. Yet, we remain committed to our moral principles. And we will make sure and we will take all necessary steps to strike military targets and them only. But Hamas, at the end of this war, will not have military capabilities to hurt Israelis ever again. I hope that all of you around the world, as we're talking, I'm seeing your messages of support and love, and I can tell you it warms our hearts for all of the soldiers that will be watching this, and voice your love and care for the state of Israel, for the IDF, and for the brave men and women in southern Israel who have been through mayhem. We are committed to fight, we are committed to defend the state of Israel, and we are confident that despite this incredibly difficult beginning of this war, we will prevail, and we will send a resounding message to Hamas and any other terrorists, not to understand very clearly that this aggression is something that will be the undoing of Hamas. I hope that you'll stay informed. I hope that you'll keep connected with our accounts and the information that we will be posting. My friends and colleagues at the Spokesperson unit will continue to disseminate real, live, and trustworthy information for you to be aware of. And when we'll be able to, you will also see live footage from southern Israel so that you'll be able to see exactly the situation on the ground. That will come as well. Until then, I wish you all the best, and I will see you probably tomorrow. Shalom from Tel Aviv.